Welcome back, old chaps, to Drive Home Reviews, and my goodness, what a corking episode we've got for you here today, as we've gone and taken a look at the great British epic of Downton Abbey. Now, I have a bit of a confession to make that I was not a big viewer of this program when it was originally on the telly. You see, it's all a matter of context. See, at the time when this show was at the height of its popularity, I was a bit unemployed, working and hoping for any bit of pence I could get from directing a show here, teaching a homeschool class there, and so it was a little hard for me to watch a show wherein the biggest conflict was a bunch of rich buggers whose basic job it was to be a rich bugger, and the biggest problem in their life was trying to figure out where the next generation of rich buggers were going to come from. However, now I have achieved a state of well-being entering the highly paid profession of high school theater teacher, and as such, I have a much greater respect for the upper crust, I don't mind telling you. Oh my goodness, my friends. What an interesting little piece of cinema this was. You know, when you have a TV show, and I'm sorry that everything is dark, but lights don't seem to be working so much here, so it's going to be a very dark episode. Makes me feel bad that I went through all the trouble to get this costume together. Ain't it always the luck? Any behoos, let's talk about this thing. Now, when a film comes out that is the continuation of an episodic television show, there's always going to be some problems. How large are you going to make the conflicts? How deep are you going to go into the characters? And the problem with episodic television is that you are able to have different episodes about different characters. And you're able to expand out on them, a movie being so much more confined. Take, for example, the film versions of Star Trek: The Next Generation. Star Trek: The Next Generation is famously an ensemble piece with 7 or 8 main characters who shared the spotlight. But the movies came, they couldn't focus on all of them, so it became the Picard and Data show. Well, this film solves that problem somewhat by giving us not one plot, but 15 different plots. And each one of them resolved and brought up within mere seconds of each other. I am hard-pressed, my dear friends, to sit here and inform you as to what the story of this film actually is. Because there are so many stories going on. Is the story the king and queen coming to visit? Possibly. Seems to be the main driving force, the inciting incident and whatnot. But is that really the plot? Let's see. We have Tom, the former chauffeur, who for a moment it looks like maybe going back to his Irish revolutionary roots, but then saves the king from assassination, and you're thinking, is this the plot? Nope! Done in 2 seconds. You have the plot about Mary attempting to take over as the head of Downton and having doubts of whether or not Downton should be kept going. Is this the plot? Nope, has maybe 3 scenes worth. You have the bizarre subplot that suddenly there is another cousin about whom we have never heard before, that being played by Dolores Umbridge, who is going to alter her will so as not to leave her estates to Lord Banton, and Maggie Smith is understandably upset, and they're trying to figure out why she's going to leave it to her maid. Is this the plot? Not quite. No, it seems the main plot of this moving picture is the staff of Downton Abbey being mad that the king and queen staff is treating them so poorly. So what the plot of this movie actually is, my friends, this is the stiff British version of the Mighty Ducks. Yes, the rich buggers are coming to town, and it's up to this ragtag group of ragamuffins to show them what for through pranks and shenanigans. And that seems to be the main plot. Truthfully, let's dispatch with the get up here. And let's be honest about what this is. This is not a movie. Okay? This is a victory lap. This is a, hey, remember us? Remember how we were the biggest thing in the world not so long ago? How we were the water cooler film, or the water cooler show that you had to see. You had to see the season finale of, lest you be caught left in the dust. Remember us before your Game of Throneses and whatnot? Well, that's who we were. And here we are back again. Remember all the things you loved? All the money, all the wealth, all the grand costumes, all the manners. Remember that? Well, here it is in a movie. Or rather, here it is in a much longer format. And that is not inherently a bad thing. If all you're making is a film to say thank you to the people who made your show, or thank you to the people who watched it, then you know what? That's fine and dandy with me. A last chance to say goodbye and to say thank you to the cast that you've come to love, unless of course this one is a hit, in which I have no doubt in my mind they will do a Downton Abbey 2. But again, the problem with that is there is no plot here. There's no story. I'm sorry, I stay corrected. There's 15 or 20 different stories, all, and as I was saying in that very long and drawn out, comedy routine there, 15 to 20 different stories that are brought up, mentioned once, resolved like that. Seriously. And every time it looks like something dramatic is going to happen, every time it looks like something new is going to happen that maybe will kickstart a plot, it is again resolved like that. There's a moment where Thomas is arrested at a gay speakeasy, and you're like, oh, well, this is clearly going to be the plot. The butler of Downton arrested, for being a poofter up at the, and the king and queen are there, and what is it going to do? Nope. Resolved. I made the joke about at the very beginning, Tom, or not Tom, I can't keep these people apart. Whoever, the former chauffeur. About him suddenly looking like he might be rejoining the Irish Revolution, but nope, saves the king from assassination in 2 seconds. Done. There's nothing here to help bring a new viewer in. And I know what the argument is going to be. Well, if you weren't a fan of the show, why go be a fan of the movie? Because, friends, this is the chance to make new fans of the show. And yes, I know the show is off the air, so what does it matter? But this is a chance to bring a new audience in and have them go back and rediscover. Let me give you an example. I never watched Firefly. Yes, I know, take away my nerd card. But I never watched Firefly. But I did see the movie Serenity, and liked Serenity, and went back and watched the show. And Serenity is done now. Granted, Firefly only had a few episodes, so it didn't have like 7 years worth of background information it was trying to, cram into a movie. But I was able to pick up on who the characters were. I was able to pick up on what their relationships were, what the basic premise was, by the way the movie was framed. Here, if you don't know who any of these people are, you are given next to no explanation, next to no exposition. You don't know who the fuck anybody is or what's going on. Even something, let's take something even as continuity driven as, say, The X-Files, their first movie, Fight the Future, which came out in between 2 of the seasons. it was structured in a way that even if you didn't watch the show, you got a basic idea very early on of who these characters were and what the basic deal was. I mean, it's not the best writing in the world, but when Mulder is sitting at the bar and he gives this big long soliloquy, to the barmaid, I'm a key figure in a ongoing government conspiracy to cover up the truth about extraterrestrials. They call him, I saw my sister abducted. They call me spooky Mulder. So now I chase little green men. Yes, it's clunky, but it got the exposition out there so that new audience members, or people like my parents at the time who were dragged to see the film, understood what was going on and then could enjoy the rest of the movie. And again, none of that here. It's just straight in. If you don't know who these people are, you are fucked. And again, I only watched a couple seasons of it on DVD one Christmas when my parents were here and they brought them with them and we were watching it. So I know some of the characters, but a lot of people were popping up and I'm like, who was that? Who are you? What's happening? I also got to say this. This is something I really do want to bring up. Because this is something that dawned on me as I was driving to go see this film tonight. And that is, it's a very bizarre cultural thing. Cultures are weird, aren't they? Cultures are very, very weird. Because, take like the Japanese culture. Japanese people have, the best diet in the world. They're one of the fittest people on the planet, and yet their favorite sport is watching two fat guys slap into each other. Very interesting. And I find it very bloody interesting that here in America, where as of late we are constantly bitching about the rich and about, the 99% versus the 1% and occupy this and redistribute wealth and da-da-da-da-da-da-da, that we would fall in love with this show whose basic subtext is, yay, the rich fuckers! Thank you, rich people, for being here and employing us and being the heart and soul of our communities. God bless the rich people. I'm sorry, British. There you go. Does no one else just see that as bizarre? Again, I'm ranting a lot because I legitimately don't know what to say about this film. Because again, not a movie. There are a couple of great scenes and a couple of plot points that I wish they would have just said, okay, we're going to make this the subject of the film. There's this whole thing about Chauffeur Boy starting up another romance, but this time with the maid of Dolores Umbridge, whom she's going to leave everything to, but about whom Maggie Smith is mad. The two of those characters have a neat chemistry, and it's a neat new relationship, and I'm like, oh, that would be a good thing to hang this movie on. There's also a very beautiful scene at the very end between Maggie Smith and Mary. I don't know the actor's name. I'm not going to talk about what it's about because it's kind of a spoiler. But that would have made a whole plot of the movie. But this, and again, I said it kind of as a joke, but kind of not. The thrust of this thing are the servants going at each other like you are literally watching an upper class version of the Mighty Ducks. I'm not making that up. That's the plot. Look, again, I'm being harsh here. If you're a fan of this show, then obviously I think you're going to love this because it's a love letter to you. It's for you. It is a 2-hour fluff piece to just get you back with the characters you love, in the setting that you love, The film is beautifully shot. I mean, I gotta say that. Directorially, it's got some gorgeous shots in it. But when it comes right down to it, that's kind of all it is. And there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes it's all you need in life. And again, especially since the show had a tendency to veer heavily into the melodramatic, maybe just having a quiet little, episodic thing as your feature film is not the worst idea in the world. But I think they probably could have gone with more, in my humble opinion. So let's see. This one's hard to grade. This one's really hard to grade. But I think final grade for Downton Abbey, I'm gonna go a C+. And again, I know hardcore fans of the show are gonna be mad at me, but I have nothing invested in this. Of course, it's beautifully acted. I mean, it's got some fantastic British actors, and of course, Maggie Smith being her salty old self. But aside from that, if you didn't care about the show, if you had no interest in the show, or you saw this coming out and going, well, I'll go see that, and if I like that, I'll go back and watch the show, you're out of luck. But a love letter to the show, and you know what? Just because I give it a C+, that doesn't mean it's bad. If you love it, then it's made for you, so enjoy it. All right, so I really don't have much more to say on this one. So yeah, let's just wrap this bitch up. So until next time, chaps. As always, drive safe on the left-hand side of the street, and I will see you at the pictures.